Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. Got the international break coming up now, so we're going to have some different videos. In this first video, I just wanted to get out as soon as I could for you, and it's just going to be some early thoughts on Game Week 11, move into Game Week 12. What things am I considering? This is more of, as Late Riser calls it on the FPL, more of like a meta discussion. I'm not going to go into specific statistical discussions about different players. This is more so just, what are my thoughts? How do I think we can improve our rank, improve the way we're playing the game? And what am I thinking about moving forward? If you do enjoy this sort of laid back, chilled discussion sort of type approach, let me know down below. At least I know what sort of content you guys like. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into today's video. I'm going to start by saying thank you to the sponsors of this video, OneFootball. OneFootball is a free football application where you can have everything you want and more in one single place, whether that be transfer news, injury news, press conference updates. As you can see on your screen, staying up to date with the international break is very, very important. Are the players in your FPL team starting for their international clubs? How many minutes are they getting? Where are they having to travel to? You can cover all of this using the OneFootball app. So every few days, maybe every day sometimes if there's a lot of international football, I'll just flick through and check which players are playing, what are the stats, are they playing well, and how many minutes they're playing. So if you want to use the OneFootball app during the international break, you can do so by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code. If you do that, you're supporting the channel and getting the best free football app on the market. Let me know what you think. So I will have a team selection video as always next week. So this video isn't really about me, but it's important to see where my head's at. Did I have a good week? As you can see, yes. Will that change the way I'm viewing things? Of course. And the players that I discuss in this video also stems from my team as well. So just for those of you that are new to the channel, or if you've forgotten, this is my team. This is how I got on in Game Week 11. A great week once again. Trent, James, and Cancelo, and Ramsdale. All of my backline returning, including my keeper. 12 for Trent and 14 for Cancelo was brilliant. It just shows that you play those premium defenders no matter the fixture. Trent against West Ham looked like a tricky fixture, and it was. And Cancelo against Manchester United looked like a tricky fixture. It was not. But it shows the power that these fullbacks have. That is 5 attacking returns between Trent, James, and Cancelo this week. 5 attacking returns from 3 defenders. So for me, I knew this anyway, but you don't bench these premium defenders. They are underpriced, undervalued, and they have more attacking threat. I tweeted a couple of days ago, I am more confident in Trent, James, and Cancelo scoring than I am in my attackers. And that's I'm not saying that for entertainment purposes. I'm more confident in my defenders scoring. So these are defenders that you need to get into your team, in my opinion, and you need to play every week. And I think Trent, James, and Cancelo are the 3 to own, and I'm very grateful that I already own them, and I'm not scrambling to get one of them. I do think you can add Chilwell to that list, but we've discussed before, Chilwell's stats aren't as good as James. James's stats are the best for the Chelsea fullbacks. And I don't think it's worth going from Chilwell to James, but I do think that James is the one to own over Chilwell. So I would still be looking to get him in and prioritise him. We're going to discuss James a little bit later in the video. The midfield was a little bit disappointing. Havertz finally got his goal. He got a goal and an assist, which is more than Salah has got over the last 2 weeks. 2 single assists for Salah. So if you'd have captained Havertz over Salah in the last 2 weeks, you would be significantly better off. And then blanks from Saka and Mbeumo, really disappointing. If you'd have said to me that 3 of the 4 players in my team that would blank this week is Saka against Watford and Mbeumo and Tony against Norwich, as well as Kane, who's been pretty horrific. But those 3, I would have thought those were the 3 to haul, but they're the 3 that have let me down. Armstrong coming in clutch in like the 2nd or 3rd minute of Friday Night Football, getting me 9 points. So I had a great week. What we're not going to do is discuss that bench. No, we will. 32 points I left on the bench, and you know, on this channel, I'm all about the decision-making process, not using outcome bias, which is judging the decision based on the outcome. We don't want to do that. We want to base the effectiveness of the decision based on the decision-making process, and we don't use hindsight bias. Oh, I should have played the bench boost. That's not the way. Did I consider playing the bench boost? Absolutely not, and I'll tell you why. Foster was playing against Arsenal, and I thought Arsenal would score, which they did, and Norman was playing against Brentford. Norman is a 4.5 million, at points, a deep-lying midfielder. I don't ever expect him to get returns, and he doesn't normally. So do I regret not playing the bench boost? Not really, because I was never going to bench boost with Foster against Arsenal and Norman against Brentford. And even Emerson and Livramento, I don't think Livramento against Villa was a great fixture particularly. I don't think Emerson against Everton was a great fixture if we're looking at clean sheet potential. So I would never in my wildest dreams expected my bench to score 32 points. So listen, you can be frustrated to leave points on your bench, but think, realistically, were you considering it? If you were considering it, then fair enough. You can say, maybe I got that one wrong. But think, why didn't you play it? If you didn't play it because you wanted to increase your chances in a double game week, That's a sensible decision. You're playing the statistics there. You're likely to get potentially 8 games rather than 4. Of course you would rather do that. So don't beat yourselves up if you've left points on your bench. I'm pretty sure every single person in FPL has got points on their bench this week. So listen, 75 points, 32 on the bench. It would have meant I would have scored 107 points if I'd have played my bench boost, which would have put me in like the top few players in the world for this week. So it could have been monstrous. I could have been well and truly into the top. I think I would have been top 2K. Which hurts a little bit, but like I said, the decision-making process was fine. So I've gone from 78k to 34k, and like I said, we're so tightly packed at the moment. I was 60k before game week 9. I then went from 60k to 200k in game week 9. I then went from 200k to 78k in game week 10, and then I've gone from 78k to 34k in game week 11 for a total of 750 points on the dot. So it's so tightly packed. You can go from having a brilliant rank to a terrible one like that, or you can go from having a really great rank to a really terrible rank to a really great one. It can go either way. What it means is all you should be focusing on now is putting out the best team you possibly can. You should just be focusing on how can I make sure that my team looks good for the upcoming week, because that's all you can control. You can't control your rank, but what you can control is the decisions you make. So that's how my team looks. So you know when I'm discussing things later on in the video, this is how the team looks. I have 2 free transfers and I have 2.2 million in the bank. So I think the team's in a brilliant, brilliant position. I already own Kane, so I'm not scrambling necessarily to get a Spurs player. And 2 free transfers and money in the bank with Havertz as a make weight potentially. I'm relatively happy with the team. Let's now take a look at some discussion points and some of my early thoughts ahead of game week 12. So this is something I've been thinking of, obviously specifically in relation to my team, but I think it's something that is really, really important to draw our attention to. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot over the last couple of weeks. And I'm sure you guys will know about this. I'm not saying that this is something you've never considered, but it's important to explicitly remind ourselves that it's all about combinations in FPL. It's not like I remember people saying Trent's a £7.5 million defender, you have to have him. And listen, he's proved this year that he is a great own, definitely. But my point is, it's not Trent at 7.5. It's could you get more value from a £4.5 million defender and a £7.5 million attacker, or a £7.5 million defender and a £4.5 million attacker? It's not just about a player in isolation. It's if you go for a cheap player or more expensive, what does that do to the rest of your team? What other players can you afford or not afford as a result? And I think I've been locking myself into Heung-min Son. As you'll know, if you see, completely forgot to say, my transfer in was Emerson Royale for Diaz to give me enough money to go straight from Havertz to Son. I should have discussed that in the previous section, but the reason for that is I was so sure in my mind, the fixtures coming up are so good for Son, I want Son. I completely ignored the fact that to get Son, I might have to downgrade Saka to Smith Rowe, and therefore the combination is Son and Smith Rowe, right? That is the combination if I go for Son. And I think I'm thinking about that in isolation. I'm thinking I want Son, he's a great asset. And this is something we know as playing continuation bias. We lock ourselves into original plan of action. My plan of action was I wanted the Son and Kane double up from game week 12. I'd get Kane early and then I'd get Son in game week 12. That's always been my plan. And I've been very stuck in my ways and I've just been continuing that plan of action. And I'm not considering other things. And the other thing that I'm discussing here is that Foden and Jota are both significantly cheaper and playing up front for the 2 best teams in the league. They should be the priority, surely. Surely, if I'm not remaining locked in my ways and I'm considering all the information, Firmino is now injured long term, and as a result, Jota should be nailed. Even if he's only nailed for 5 to 6 weeks, you've then got AFCON coming up. So even if in a couple of the games he starts to be rotated, over the next 15 game weeks, I think Jota will start 10 to 12 of those. He has better underlying stats than anyone in the league when he starts. I'm not being adaptive enough, and I think sometimes we can all experience this, definitely, but I'm getting locked into my ways of thinking I want Son, Son's the best option. And listen, he might well be, and I may well bring in Son, but it's important to consider these different combinations. So as I said, for me, it works out roughly the same. I can afford either Son and Smith Rowe, or I can afford Foden and Jota. Now, I do personally still think that for the next 4 fixtures, Son is the priority. I think I would rather own Son than anyone there. But Son and Smith Rowe's underlying stats aren't great. Son's underlying stats aren't great, which we'll discuss in the Game Week preview video next week. Foden and Jota put up incredible stats, and most importantly, they're playing up front OOP for the 2 best teams in the league. Even when Foden plays on the left, he's still an elite standard. The underlying statistics for those 2 are remarkable. I think potentially Foden and Jota are the 2 to own. I need to be adaptive. I need to, like I said, realise that Foden started basically every game since he's been fit. It's like 7 or 8 games in a row he started. Jota will start pretty much every game with Firmino injured, however long that is. And even when Firmino's back, I still think he is probably equal with Firmino for that 3rd spot. We know Mane can be rotated as well. So all I want you guys to think about over the international break is don't get locked into one specific player. Don't get locked into, I want to do Duffy to Reece James. Yes, Reece James is probably the priority for everyone coming up because he's just showing, as we'll discuss in the next section, he's just showing that he's an incredible asset. But consider what else could you do with that money? If you got Duffy, could you get to a Jota instead from a Saka? Is Duffy and Jota better than James and Saka? These are the things we should be considering for ourselves. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. Like I said, Smith Rowe's output at the moment is brilliant, and Son over the next 4 fixtures is not only a captaincy option, but just a great option to own as well. So I don't know the answer to this, plus like Son and Smith Rowe versus Foden and Jota. Let me know down below if you think there's an obvious winner, because this is my decision this week. I'll be going for one of these 2 combinations. But just be adaptive. Don't lock yourself into your ways. Don't continue the plan of action just because that's the original course of action that you planned to have. And yeah, be an adaptive manager. I think that's for the best. I think that's how we can make our way up the ranks, definitely. But it's something that I've been considering and I'd like you to consider as well. I just realised for that section that I had them all playing Burnley at home. Obviously, they're not all playing Burnley at home, but the fixtures aren't really important. The point was more about thinking about combinations, more of a meta point, as we've said in the introduction. I just wanted to give some initial thoughts. This will form a big section in my game week preview video next week, so don't stress about the actual underlying stats of it all. I will discuss in quite a lot of detail these 3 players because, as I said, not just for me, but I think for a lot of people, even if we own 1 or 2 of them, we want to know, should we go for the 3rd? If not, I know there are a lot of people that don't own any of these 3 or only own Foden. You want to know Jota or Son. I will make a comparison between all of these guys. I just want to give you my initial thoughts. Again, this is more of a laid-back approach today. My initial thoughts is if you're attacking the fixtures, it's Son, as you can see. So what is underneath the touch maps is the fixture difficulty rating according to the Fantasy Football Fix algorithm. So Tottenham have the 3rd best fixtures in the league from an attacking perspective over the next 6 game weeks. City have the 5th best, Liverpool have the 6th best. So all have great fixtures. I am comfortable in saying, though, I think Tottenham's fixtures are the best of the bunch, not just because of the algorithm. I just look at those 4 fixtures and I see them suiting Spurs more than they suit City and Liverpool. So if you're focusing just on the fixtures, it's got to be Son for me. However, I can then list off lots more reasons to go for the other 2, and that's where I'm starting to think, am I going wrong by going for Son? Obviously, price is a major thing, but Foden and Jota are playing for 2 of the best teams in world football, not just this year, but for 2 or 3 years in a row now. They have shown on consistent basis that they can perform so well. So am I mad for backing an expensive 10.3, 10.4 million pound midfielder playing for a terrible Spurs team with average underlying stats? Am I blindly trusting that Conte can change this Spurs team? And he's only got a short period of time to do it because the fixtures start now. If he takes like Leeds to start getting in, they've only got 3 then. Am I better just going for a player playing up top in the best teams in world football at the moment? Potentially. I think that Foden is the best long-term pick if you're looking to hold someone that has a combination of underlying statistics, nailedness, playing for one of the best teams, decent fixtures, good long-term fixtures. I think that Foden might be the guy that is reliable and that you can just bring in and you don't need to change that position too often. Son for the fixtures. And I think Jota is making the most of the circumstances that we're in. Firmino getting injured, as we've spoken about in the past, is a blessing for FPL managers. I don't want any player to get injured, but from an FPL perspective, an injury to anyone in that front 3 makes the other front 3, because there's obviously 4 of them competing, it makes the front 3 that are fit nailed. Yes, they can play Chamberlain and Origi, but Minamino, that's not going to happen. That might happen once in 15 games. They are pretty nailed, those front 3 now. So I think making the most of the circumstances, then it's got to be Jota. So these are the things going through my head. Fixtures, Son, a bit of everything, Foden, and then making the most of the situation that has arisen now that Firmino is injured. It's got to be Jota. And I just look at Jota's price, Jota's underlying statistics, the team that Jota is playing for, and I think Jota might be the one to own. Let me know down below, out of these 3, if you had to prioritize one, if you don't own any, which are you looking to bring in? If you do own one, are you looking to bring in any others? For me, I can bring in both Foden and Jota rather than Son and Smith Rowe, and that's the way I'm currently leaning. But I equally think I want to be aggressive and attack those Spurs fixtures, and not many people have a Son and Kane double up. And in FPL, I'm all about getting ahead of the curve and doing things that other people can't with my team, and my team structure allows me to do that. Let me know down below. I'd be interested to hear what you think. It's worth talking about Reece James in this video, not from a bragging perspective. I know I went for him on my wild card. I immediately regretted it when Chilwell started returning, kept on scoring, but I saw what I want to see from a defender, and that is unbelievable underlying statistics and attacking threat from both a creative perspective and a goal threat perspective as well. And listen, he is he is for me the player to own in FPL at the moment. If someone was to ask me out of everyone in the game who you prioritizing, it's Reece James for me. And I'm not particularly bothered by the fixtures. I know a lot of people feel like they've missed the boat with Reece James. And listen, he's not going to score 21 points, 13 points every week. I think he's got like 41 points in three weeks, something like that. He's not going to do that every week. And Leicester United, West Ham, Everton, they are trickier fixtures. He just doesn't show any sign of letting up. And to score 18 points against Arsenal earlier on in the season just shows who he is and what he's about. And I think the way that Chelsea are lining up at the moment, number one, I think he's nailed. I think he'll miss maybe 1 in every 5-6 games maximum. I just think that they are playing to his strengths, and I think that he is a player that will continue to deliver in FPL. I just wanted to show you his underlying statistics because they are remarkable, and I don't want people to get into the frame of mind. By the way, he is massively overperforming his underlying statistics because he's got 7 returns in the equivalent of 5 games. He's played 458 minutes, and he has 4 goals and 3 assists. He has 7 attacking returns in 5 games from wingback. So his underlying statistics do not suggest that he should be performing at that rate. However, they are still exceptional, and his underlying statistics suggest that he will continue to return. Not that regularly, but he will continue to return. His projected points haven't caught up. The Fantasy Football Fix algorithm, for some reason, I don't know if it needs to be updated, it hasn't caught up with the fact that he's nailed. So as you can see, the old Reece James, when we thought he wasn't nailed, 23.7 points over the next 6 game weeks is an average of about 4 points per game. He's obviously well and truly outperformed that. You can see he's on expected FPL points. This isn't his actual, just his expected FPL points is 8.9 per 90. What you can see straight away from glimpsing, if you're on a big enough screen, is that he is first in pretty much every underlying statistic in the league. The only one that he's not first on is expected assists, which Trent just about comes out on top on. Although he might have actually overtaken Trent, but Trent does get close to him from an expected assist point of view. But every other stat that I was looking at, Reece James is first in the league, for defenders, that is. 8.9 expected FPL points per 90, 0.59 expected goal involvement per 90. That is better than the majority of strikers in the league. That's better than Jimenez. That's better than the likes of Ings, Watkins, Hwang. It's better than, I think, slightly higher than Bruno Fernandes. It doesn't quite compete with the likes of Ronaldo and Antonio, but you get the picture that he is not a right back. He is an attacking threat. He is putting up stats that you would expect from your number 9 and be happy with from your number 9. Big chances per 90, 0.39. He's getting almost a big chance every 2 games from fullback. 5.11 touches in the box puts him well and truly clear. He is getting more touches in the box than Son, Kane, Vardy, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva. He's getting more touches in the box than all of these elite forwards and elite attackers. I just don't think you can underestimate how good his start to the season has been. And it's getting to the point now where when he had only like 90 minutes under his belt, it was very extrapolated based on a few big chances. He's almost played, like I said, 5 full 90 minutes now, spread across different fixtures, etc. But he's getting to the stage where he's showing that this might be consistent. And I think he's still the most undervalued player in the game. Yes, Trent is fantastic, but Trent is 7.7 million, is he now? Reece James is still not even 6 million at the time of recording this for me. So listen, I think that Reece James should be a priority. I really do. I think even more so than the likes of Son, Jota. I don't think you've missed the boat. The underlying stats still look good. And yes, he might not keep a clean sheet against Leicester. He might not keep a clean sheet against United. He might not get attacking returns in the next 2 games. But you're bringing him in with long-term in mind and realising that he is a man that is putting up unbelievable underlying statistics. He's playing in a Chelsea defence which is improving and does still have decent underlying numbers. I can only see this being a 200-point plus season for Reece James with relative ease. And I'm going to be there for it and I'm going to own him for it. So let me know down below, do you own Reece James? If you don't, are you prioritising him this week? Or are you just hoping to God that he stops scoring? Like I said, his underlying stats of 0.59 expected goal involvement per 90. He is therefore almost tripling his expected goal involvement because he's got 7 attacking returns. So he is well and truly outperforming, but I just think these are still fantastic numbers. So I'll stop rambling about Reece James. Let me know below. Do you own him? If not, are you going to bring him in? And if so, are you prioritising him above the likes of Son, Foden and Jota? So guys, there you have it. That is a slightly shorter video than usual, but just some initial thoughts that I've had regarding Game Week 11, Game Week 12 and beyond as well. Let me know down below if you prefer these slightly different videos where I just sort of talk off the cuff about a few things that have interested me and my thoughts ahead of the international break. As I said, there will be some content over the international break, don't you worry. Hopefully a Psychology 101 video. I know a lot of you guys like them, and obviously the normal videos as well. So I'll be trying to get out as much content as I can. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. You know how much it helps support the channel, helps the algorithm know that people people are enjoying the video, they then push it to other people as well. And all of that will help support me, support the channel grow, which would be absolutely amazing. I really do appreciate you watching the videos, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.